Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to review the Nerd Relic, which got a big overhaul for this season. And if you're shopping online, we got affiliate links down in the description below so you don't have to go hunting for it. This board features Nerd's directional cam rocker, so you get a long rocker in the nose, camber throughout the rest of the board. What you're going to get is load, pop, snap, and drive from that camber, while you're going to get ease of entry in and out of turns from that rocker, as well as more optimal powder float. This board is available in 151 and 156. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a sunny bluebird day with average to slightly warmer temps. You had chop, chunder, slush, hot pow, and I used my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. With the overhaul of this board, they've made it stiffer. Obviously, the nose is still going to be the softest section of the board just due to that rocker, and then it progressively stiffens back up to the tail. It's about a middle of the road flex, whereas before I think it was slightly below middle of the road. The torsional flex is there, and it's very easy to engage. And while it's a little snappy to rebound, it's not overly snappy to get it back to its natural shape. The big difference, though, with the stiffness comes in how this actually rides. With that slightly stiffer nose, it pushes through snow easier. So if you get into like slush, chop, chunder, it's gonna plow through it. And if you hit something firmer or harder, it climbs up on top of it, and it doesn't cause any of that impact to reverberate back underfoot. So you actually feel it more in your front foot. You can actually like just kind of skip up on top of it. At speeds, you get a little bit of flap. You never feel that underfoot when you're on a groomer. Chop chunder, it crushes it. Basically, it's a more stable version of what it was with a slightly stiffer flex to it. This board has more snap than the previous version. With it being slightly stiffer, it takes a little bit more to engage it, but when you roll back, you do pop a little bit higher. So what you put in is what you're gonna get out. Put minimal effort in, not gonna go as high. Put maximum effort in, you're gonna probably boost with it. It's nice because you can pop off a side hit, it'll porpoise around in fresh snow, it'll, just do what you need it to do when you're coming off a roller. It's kind of one of those things. Family of fat skiers falls down in front of you. Might not win any records from a flat ollie going high, but you're gonna make it over them at least. Except for maybe the last one. Little Sally stuck her head up and got decapitated. We're about halfway through this review. Why don't you give it a thumbs up? And if you haven't already, go down, subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the programming we've got coming out for you. Tail's gonna fight you the whole time. You got nothing to really work with there. It's the stiffest section of the board by and large. So you're gonna sit on it and it's gonna fight you. Now with the nose, right where the camber meets the rocker, there's a flex point. And if you pop a 180, you're gonna basically feel it really press and then lock in. And when you go to disengage it, a little flick of the ankle, it's gonna do it. If you're just nose rolling and swizzling and sizzling, you're gonna be able to get up on this no problem. If you know how to butter on something that's a little more directional, you shouldn't have a problem. If you don't, it's actually not a bad one, in my opinion, to learn on. This is where the biggest change happened with this board. With the old one, if you were driving it too aggressively, the rocker would flex a little too much and it would buck out the front foot, so you didn't feel locked in. With this version, you feel more locked in, you're on edge. You get a ton of power from the middle of the board back through the tail. You can slingshot it through a turn, still use that front foot to guide you, but you don't have to worry about it just popping up and out. It's locked in, it makes it easy to turn. Ankle steering this board takes a little bit of effort, but not a lot. It's still smooth and fluid edge to edge. Short, tight, quick carves, medium, mellow carves, totally fine. But when you go to do those deep, hard, aggressive carves where you're really trenching, this is where it actually stands out compared to the previous version. Rider in mind, this is the volume shifted board for the guy that's cruising the whole mountain, wants a little power, a little snap, and just a tiny smidge of play. Like what we're doing over here? Want to support us further? Swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. Retooling the core profiling on this board really does make it better. It's got more snap, it's got more power to it. I think this is what they ideally wanted with the first generation, but they were playing around with the core, and when it went to production, it wasn't quite where they wanted it. Basically, if you're a little bit of a heavier guy, now this shouldn't buck on you. It should float a lot better. You should have a little bit more power with it. Comparable boards, the Telos Backslash, the Ride SuperPig, the Rome Service Dog. Binding recommendations: the Rome Katana, the Union Force, the Ride C8. Alright, this has been my review of the revamped Nerd Relic. Hopefully you learned something from it, because if you didn't, I didn't do my job well enough. And if you're still feeling frisky, go watch another video.